Hi, everybody. Welcome to another CareerFoundry event this evening, where I'm very, very happy to welcome a current student at CareerFoundry, Jamal, who is also a co-founder of Pitch Lounge. For anybody in Berlin, you may have heard of Pitch Lounge, which connects founders to investors. So if anyone from Berlin, just say hi to Jamal. But tonight we're all going to be talking about digital marketing. So whilst people are joining in the public chat on the right-hand side, maybe you just want to drop your name, where you're joining from, and also why you're interested in maybe changing careers into digital marketing. We don't usually host events with students, but I thought actually this evening it would be super interesting to get one of our current students online and just to give everybody an impression of what's it like to be a CareerFoundry student. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Before we kick off, I'll just speak very, very quickly about CareerFoundry. So I'm William, Events and Communications Lead here at CareerFoundry, and CareerFoundry is the online academy for your career change into tech. So we offer 6 different career change programs. Digital marketing is one of those, but also we offer programs in design, product management, data analytics, and web development. So there is a lot of different routes into tech, but tonight the whole focus is going to be on Jamal and digital marketing. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Jamal, I've spoken too much. Maybe just want to introduce yourself very briefly to those who are joining, and maybe just a little bit about your background.
Yeah, no, thank you, William. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for CareerFoundry. So my name is Jamal Maxey. I'm from the UK originally. I then moved to Germany in 2017 after a background in youth program management, a little bit of philanthropy, and also some TV work in the UK, and decided to try something new, to try life as a migrant in Germany and try different things. And in Germany, as well as teaching, which was a bit of a natural step from youth work, I've also worked in the hospitality sector, which then linked to one of my businesses that involves digital marketing, and then later on moving into the startup investment in the event sector, where I specialize in event marketing and largely using obviously digital marketing to promote my events and bring people together in in-person events in Berlin, but also online events as well. Yeah, thank you. Great to be here.
Awesome, thanks so much. So you actually had some exposure to marketing before you decided to study with CareerFoundry. So how did it come about that you thought, okay, I actually want to study this as a vocation?
I think because I come from a family where, although my one parent didn't go to university, the other one did, back in the 60s or 70s, and it was a strong expectation that I would go to university and that I would do an intellectual, quote unquote, degree that was around like developing critical thinking skills, not something that was maybe vocational and linked to other interests of mine like TV production, film production, and marketing, or running events, which is what I ended up doing for most of my time at uni, and doing less of studying economics and anthropology was what I was studying. So I think, I think it was something I'd always found at uni that I was doing anyway, and I was liking it. I think back then there was less programs maybe in this area. Maybe you could do some online things, but very small little, maybe LinkedIn Learning or something like this, but you wouldn't go to university necessarily. And digital marketing was really transforming massively. So I don't think it was even an option for me. And I think, yes, I've done it because I had to do it as part of some of the roles I've been in, both voluntarily at uni, but also post-uni, maybe events within the charity sector, events within the philanthropy sector, or organizing large award ceremonies, and then marketing being one aspect of them promoting and one aspect of making sure those events were a success. But what I found is that it is like lifelong learning, but that I felt like I was missing systems and methods, and also an accreditation. So I felt that with those reasons in mind, those last 2 reasons, I felt like, and also the AI changes that have been coming in the last year and a half. So understanding how those are now affecting marketing, and they have a direct effect on one of my businesses, particularly the shift now to maybe AI and the way that we do search might change. And so all these things are going through my head. And I think I want to keep up to date with some of these elements, but also to be learning about them in a structured way and not kind of getting really overwhelmed or go down some rabbit hole, right? And you do when it comes to trying to do your own self-directed learning. Yeah.
It's quite interesting because we get a lot of students at CareerFoundry who join us. They're either thinking about a career change where they're leaping into a different topic completely. So they're coming from a different background. Say, I don't know, we've had teachers or we've had nursing staff who've then gone on to UX designers. But in your case, it seems more about that you'd already picked up on some of these things, and it's more of a kind of like a lifelong learning and upskilling in digital marketing, but with a structure. From what I've understood.
Yeah, exactly. I think in my entire portfolio career or patchwork of a career, I think I had one marketing assistant internship in London, working for a philanthropy organization for 5 months. And in many other roles that I'd been in, marketing was part of the role in some way, or I ended up doing it, or ended up offering to do it. Particularly charity campaigning, we ended up doing some marketing, organized kind of like thunderclap, campaign where everyone was putting out a post at the same time. But again, never, apart from that one paid internship in London, was I ever in a kind of marketing role where that was the name of the role. So I feel like unless you've come from a communications, marketing, business degree, it's hard maybe to land a role like that because you maybe haven't built up the portfolio of material, project work or whatever, but also the theoretical underpinning that then proves that you could do the job ahead of a student who did go off and do marketing, communications, journalism, and so on. So that's why I felt that this may be, in addition to my experience, wealth of experience and different examples I can draw upon, this gives me a little bit of a structure and accreditation as well that might set me apart and give me that little edge or additional element that gets me interviews, etc. Yeah.
Awesome. For those watching in the audience, if you've got any questions for Jamal, do drop them in the public chat on the right-hand side. Anything about CareerFoundry or the digital marketing program. For people watching, let's just take it back right to the start. Jamal, how did you first hear about CareerFoundry? Where did CareerFoundry pop up in your kind of search for a course or a program which you could upskill or learn a career?
Yeah, I think while I think that I have in the past like dabbled with one or two of the online learning options, like 1 or 2 LinkedIn intro to Facebook marketing, intro to LinkedIn marketing. I've done those in maybe 10 years ago now. I then even dabbled with the MOOCs, that are offered by Coursera, EDX, and I think I only finished one. I think it was something around climate change adaptation for small island states. It was the most specific specialized MOOC ever. And then I think when I got to Berlin, actually before I left for Berlin, actually there were a few other competitors of yours in London that were quite busy and would organize like recruitment fairs, and I could see they were offering these boot camps in different things. Usually they were coding based, and I know you also offer data science and more ones that are around programming areas of learning. And then Berlin, there was again 1 or 2 that were either multinational or really building a name for themselves in Berlin that approached me. I went to maybe one info session, and CareerFoundry were in that kind of pool of 2 or 3 that I was aware of.
Mm-hmm.
I think definitely the bit that made me go to the CareerFoundry one was that I knew I'd met someone from the team at a meetup that I go to regularly. Mm-hmm. It's on 11 months of the year. It's called the First Friday Amata Network in Berlin. It's fantastic. It happens on the first Friday of every month, 11 months of the year, February through to December. And I'm one of the regular members, and I'm also, I consider myself a regular member. I probably see her there half the year. She had become business involved in CareerFoundry and convinced me to come by. And the really embarrassing story was when because of maybe an accent issue, I was actually back then, I think it was 2 years ago, I was actually interested in project management. And I had heard her say, I thought she had said project management when she'd actually said product management. So I was sitting in an info session for CareerFoundry, being really excited to hear about project management. And I was like, well, what about project management? It's not on this slide. She said, oh, we don't offer project management. I'm like, I don't think you did. I was like, I realized that I just misheard. So I then tried to talk myself into maybe product management was also for me, and I just couldn't make the case really. And I felt like actually what made much more sense was something really that for me, I have quite a natural liking for, and I don't see it as work, and that is just telling people about great stuff, connecting people together through digital marketing. So I felt like this was the course that it made sense. And then a year later, I then contacted the same CareerFoundry member of staff and said, actually, I think I do want to apply. Is this possible? And then went about it with a lot of guidance and support and made it happen. So yeah, that's why I heard about it. I think mainly through word of mouth with your member of staff speaking about it at the front of the stage. I don't think I saw necessarily an advert. I think the first time I heard about it was from one of your colleagues. And then I think ever since I've liked the page, then I'm always getting the material and the post and the reminders. So I think it does make a difference. It does keep it in one's mind. And I think also the personal endorsement helped. Yeah.
Sure. Just to clarify for the audience, so Jamal is on the full program. I'm just going to post a link in the chat for those watching. We do offer a free short course. It runs over about 6 or 7 days. So if you want to just dip your toes into digital marketing and you're not going to jump into a full course just now, you can check out our free short course. That's a good place to start. Jamal, let's talk about when you actually joined the course and your first experiences. So how is the program structured? Because at CareerFoundry, we offer a dual mentorship model. So we pair each student with a mentor and a tutor. But maybe you could just tell people what the experience is like for you as a student on the program.
Yeah, I mean, it really felt quite an eased way in, because the intro course that William just mentioned, I did actually jump into that in the August before starting. I eventually started, I think, by the end of September, the very last week. So I'd already done some of the material. And then when I started the course proper, part of the course, so everyone starting from the same level, was a lot of the intro material, but this time with a more the practical, with a case study. And what I really liked is that the course, like I said, it really starts from the bottom, as if someone has never, even maybe logged into Facebook before or used Instagram before. And the intro course was largely designing an Instagram campaign for a fictional client. But I approached the mentor and I said, well, look, I actually have this event coming up in 2 weeks' time. And trying to do this Instagram campaign for a fictional client while also doing an Instagram campaign for my current event business, it feels kind of daft. Can I just apply the method and the learning from the intro course and just apply it to my upcoming event? And he said, yeah, why not? So I did. So what I like about the course is there is it is a bit flexible. So if you've got a bit more experience or you've got a side business, you can kind of weave it in with that. And I got, maybe we'll touch upon it later, but there's also the capstone, the large project you work on during the course, and you are kind of applying the theoretical module work, learning, to that capstone that sits separately that you work on with your mentor. That also has a lot of flexibility. So you either can work on your own personal branding site, which you kind of design a bit like a kind of an agency, marketing agency, but essentially it's like an online CV for your marketing services. Or you can choose a hobby site where you pick an interest area of yours, and then you build a blog site around that. Or in my case, I'm kind of going for a third option, which is launching a kind of a satellite brand to one of my businesses, which is fantastic because basically I can use this as an opportunity to experiment and kind of go through the process. And also I've got the mentor there to support me, a tutor to also give me feedback. So it's fantastic. It's a really enriching holistic learning experience. Yeah, and the way it starts and it eases in, it's quite a nice ease in. Then the first two modules are quite dense, but I think once you got in, then there's a support, and there's, if you find it easier and you fly, then there's lots of optional like AI modules and AI units, and also optional assignments you can submit, and then tutor will still give you the same quality of feedback, but you don't have to submit them. But there's a chunk where you do need to submit, and there's a bunch of optional stuff. If you're really into it, you want to test out some of the AI tools and the extra stuff, then you can also do those and get lots of feedback, and do lots of extra learning if you're really moving through it really fast. Yeah.
Fantastic. And just to give the audience a little bit of an impression, that's one of the key kind of the support that CareerFoundry offers for a student, is that we have a mentor and a tutor. So we have a mentor who's an industry expert working in the field, and a tutor who's correcting the pieces of work that you submit onto the different projects which go into your portfolio. And at CareerFoundry, on the main programs, the key takeaway is the portfolio. So you're building projects which go into this portfolio, and the idea is that you have then the confidence to sit in an interview setting and present this portfolio to a future employer. So that's one thing just to clarify for everyone watching. I'm going to take some questions now, and apologies if I pronounce anyone's name wrong. It's not intentional. There's a great question come through from Ailo. I'm a psychologist, and I dropped my PhD in psychology. I'm holding 2 masters, one behavioral psychology and the other marketing management. I have a great research background, however, no marketing experience. I'm not able to find a job yet. Do you have any recommendations? Well, what I would say there is that firstly, do check out the free short course. There is a lot of free material out online. So firstly, get an idea of what marketing is. But I would, and I am talking here from a company perspective, but I would then recommend to do a full program where you do get the support of industry professionals and just the guidance of what the industry wants in 2025, but also with AI, because that's also a super important topic. And second question from Mariella: I would love to hear more about Jamal's current career and how he implemented the knowledge of the course to his current job. So Jamal, a question from the audience, but how are you integrating what you're learning on the program into your work at Pitch Lounge in Berlin, or what you're
planning? Yeah, that's a fantastic question. Can I just pick up on the earlier
sure, jump in.
Question first? So yeah, a recommendation. Do you have any recommendations? I have a great research background, however, no marketing experience. So the one thing it's really clear, both from the intro course, but also for module 1, is that I mean, your academic background is amazingly so suitable for a marketing person, actually. So a lot of the module 1 is doing like target customer market research, and also doing like competitor analysis as well. So some of the target customer market research definitely involves an element of psychology. So it's making some assumptions and then doing some research based on those assumptions. And without doing that, like, you can't then design like the feel, the color, and even the content of your marketing campaign before you've done research into your target customer. So I really feel that anyone that's done a degree, nearly all degrees that you've done, you're developing research skills, an ability to search online for different sources and weigh them up, and then draw them together and then choose bits that you need and synthesize them into some kind of insights that you're then gonna write up on an action. And I think that's so relevant to any degree, but your degree particularly in psychology even more so. So honestly, understanding customers and being able to empathize, right? So I even looked at like different business modeling I've done back in Berlin in 2019. I used to run some workshops around business model canvas, and one exercise you can do, and I was talking to my tutor about it this time, was around customer empathy mapping, and like that exercise as a market research exercise to understand your target market and your customer segments. You're gonna have like an absolute natural knack, for that, because of your discipline that you've studied at PhD level, no doubt. But and I know that you said you just dropped it, but I think behavioral psychology. I couldn't. I mean, I think there were very few disciplines. I mean, obviously, having design visual skills is very, very useful, but there's very few disciplines academically which I think would leave you less suited for marketing. I think yours is like perfect. So that would be my what I would say. And I think definitely the intro course do that, and then do go through some of those methods to like that one example, for instance, the empathy mapping. Like look into that, like how you use empathy mapping as one tool to understand your customer segment, and then look at other approaches too, like other methods, other tools, and then do like cost comparison and weigh them up and see from a psychology background, behavioral psychology background, which one you'd be more drawn towards and why, and kind of think about that critically as well. So that's my recommendation. I think honestly, look at some of these tools and you'll find out actually it's not so dissimilar maybe from the behavioral psychology you've already studied. A lot of these business methods for doing marketing, customer research and analysis are drawn from behavioral psychology anyway. It would be my assumption. Okay, and I didn't do psychology. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. Thank you. And then on to the next question. Knowledge of the course. So one thing, for instance, so definitely, I mean, second module that I'm in right now, and a lot of the learning material for that is around email marketing, the focus on that. And I've not done a lot of email marketing. I've got friends in Berlin that have built fantastic mailing lists and are monetizing them. And I've got a mailing list of like 12,000 active like subscribers, and probably about 45,000 on my database now for doing sort of investment events for 4 or 5 years. And I've indirectly monetized it, but I'm not selling advertising space on it. I'm not I'm not really doing enough to analyze. Yes, I use some tools to check like open rate, click-through rate, etc. But in terms of then analyzing the content of it, and I haven't yet even used AI tools to maybe recommend what should be or how I should optimize the content of those emails. And I think that's what I'm kind of taking a step back really on this program. And instead of going like hell to leather and just putting stuff out, I'm instead of just stopping and thinking and going, oh, you know what? I need to segment my email campaigns more. I'm thinking about this email is just going to go out to one customer segment. So I have a newsletter right now. I've sent it out 8 times, I think, every 2-3 weeks. And I'm coming to the understanding from having done the work on the first module around target customer market. I'm realizing my newsletter is trying to sell to too many different people, and instead I should probably have like 2 separate newsletters, and one that goes out that's targeting a startup founder, another one that's going out targeting an investor, but not trying to do both in the same email. It can be a bit complicated. So I think there's some things around definitely taking a really regimented, structured approach to things. Is something I've got out of it. The second thing I've got out of it, I would say, is a breakdown of how to so I tend to just do the marketing campaign. I don't tend to plan it. So what I've learned is a system of planning. And when you learn a system of planning, that means that you can then share that plan. I mean, these days you can share it with AI, but you can share that plan with your team. And you can get feedback, and you can get them involved in inputting into parts of the plan. You can hold them account for delivering parts of the plan. But if you don't have the plan, then it's then hard to check, did we do what we said, or how can we measure, and we can adjust the plan for the future. And so I think I've learned that method of planning. And that also relates to a third element, which is in the past, my website, a lot of the branding, although I have built 2 or 3 websites in the long distance past, this website, Bishland, was actually built by a very good friend of mine from Berlin. He was a brand manager, amazing. I mean, when I look at his portfolio and CV, I'm just like, how can I even compare? But we have a different skill set. He has a motion graphics, visual, graphic design, initial background, and then has kind of transformed himself into a digital transformation specialist, and it's got an amazing CV with working with the agencies and different corporates. And I'm like, look at my CV in the marketing domain and think, how can I even compare? But what I'm good at is the entrepreneurial element of producing an event, building an ecosystem, building a community, and using digital marketing to make that happen. And he doesn't have that same skill set. Sorry, well, maybe it's down. Otherwise, I will ask. He might have slightly deactivated it. That's a shame. But I will put his LinkedIn profile in the chat later. Sorry. The point is that a lot of those elements of digital marketing, like for instance, when I was on that internship back in 2017 in London, in marketing as a marketing assistant intern, I realized that an area of digital marketing where I was really lacking was around visual media, around graphic design. Although I knew some very, very basics around, like, for instance, like how to optimize an image or how to get it in the right dimension for a certain platform or that platform or this platform, I realized some of the technical areas there I was lacking. And so I decided to do something about it. So I went on a 3-week crash course. It was a government-funded UK course back then. I went on a 3-week crash course in Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, and WordPress. But it was really fast, full time, and was very much an intro. It was but it made me realize, yeah, actually, I really like this, and I want to do more of it. It didn't give me enough skills and confidence to do it all myself. That's where I brought in help. So in that third element of bringing in help from people to do branding and marketing, I think with this course, I'm feeling more confident to actually do it myself. Not only to do it myself, and to have the confidence to say, well, if they can't do it by this deadline, I can do it. Actually, I can edit the WordPress, or I can sort out my own Wix website. But also even creating some of those visual assets as well, and creating a new branding, for instance, a branding identity for an event series. So while I have a brand identity for my company, every event series I have is a completely new brand identity in its own right. Every event series I have has a new color scheme, has a new feel, has a new geographical focus, has a new segment within the market that I focus on, and therefore I have to take that into account. And I think with that in mind, I know that then I can go, okay, don't just start playing around immediately with the canvas or whatever, but actually go through the method in which, just take a deep breath, go through the method that I've learned even in, as early as module 1, but there's even later modules in the digital marketing course that focus on social media and branding, and I'm just touching on those units right now, but I've already touched upon elements of those. Even by module 1, you're already touching on elements of those, right? The elements of building a brand, even optionally, you can develop a logo as well with already by option 1 and get feedback on that process. Yeah. So those 3 areas. So in answer to the question around how I'm taking the learning from the course and then applying it to my current career, or in my case, I run a side business on the side, and I'm already applying it to the side business. And I hope as well to be putting it into practice in my career and an employment job. It's those 3 elements: having a system of planning and focus, feeling able to do it myself, not just outsource stuff. And I think actually a third element is also being able to manage people as well to do it. So if I was bringing someone in, I now feel much more comfortable being able to manage them or work with them through a structured process than I was before. Yeah, hope that helped. Hope that answered the question.
Awesome. Just to go back to the previous one of the points that Jamal picked up upon, and just from the experience that we have at CareerFoundry with students and graduates, we have a lot of people approach CareerFoundry wanting to change careers, and they think that they're starting at zero. And I think that the case in question about the masters, having an academic experience before, having professional experience before, one of the big topics that we talk about at CareerFoundry is transferable skills. And a lot of people are coming to the programs and courses, maybe not with some of the harder skills, like on the data analytics course or the digital marketing course, but they're coming with a lot of skills from their previous careers or from what they've studied, being able to present information, being able to communicate, public speaking potentially, or maybe just attention to detail. There's lots of different skills that you have that you take to a future career that you can then apply in an interview setting, but also when you're on the job. And a lot of people think that when they're going to be changing careers or upskilling that they're starting at absolutely zero. That's actually not the case. A lot of people are bringing a lot of prior skills to the programs. And the great thing is that what Jamal was saying as well is that you can also, when you're on the program, if there's something which interests you, if there's a direction that you would like to take your portfolio in or the projects in, we do offer the flexibility to do that too, whilst you're building up these case studies and stuff. Jamal, I just wanted to jump into the interaction that you have with your CareerFoundry mentor and your CareerFoundry tutor. Can you just explain in kind of like the forum that happens, or how are you interacting with your mentor and tutor?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all digital. There's a learning platform, and on that learning platform, you also have the student advisors as well that help you with any kind of admin logistic stuff regarding the program. But you've got the tutor and you've got the mentor. So the tutor is the person that is marking the assignments that you're doing as part of the course, and if you've got questions regarding the course material, you can provide those. If, for instance, your assignment hasn't quite hit the required level, and there is some kind of very basic rubric or mark scheme for each assignment, but it's really quite basic as a rubric, then they'll give feedback and say, if you just add this or complete this or reflect on this and maybe provide a bit more detail, then I'm happy to approve the assignment. And sometimes that feedback is really useful, like really constructive, and they'll even put extra things like signposting. Have a look at this tool and this method. You might really like that. I like the fact that you mentioned MC mapping. Maybe check out this other one that's also used by industry professionals. And that's often really useful in giving enhanced feedback. There's a chat as well on where you can just send them a chat message, and you can also send them an email as well. So there's the two options. Then you can send some comments as you're submitting your assignment as well. So that's the tutor. Then the mentor, you have a section on your dashboard where you can book a mentor call. So you click on there, and generally you do a call a week. Sometimes if everything's all good and you don't have questions for the mentor, then maybe you're going to a bit less than once a week. And the mentor, as opposed to the direct course material, and the mentor is more there. I think first and foremost as a cheerleader, motivational, like pushing you on, pushing you through, like encouraging you when things are looking, things are feeling a little bit, I like in terms of your work-life balance, in terms of personal stuff that's going on, and just being a human about things and being the first point of contact. So that's one. Then two, they're there to give you some feedback and guidance also on your portfolio as well. And thirdly, they're there to support you in planning and building out your capstone project. So they are there for that. So that's also part of the modules that you have to submit. But they will mark that. They will give feedback on that, as opposed to the tutor. Yeah. Hope that helps. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. My daughter's just crying. She had a fever today, but so if you hear a baby crying in the background, that's my daughter. She'd love to be in the event, but she's a little bit too small right now. And Jamal, do you think you could just tell us how's your portfolio currently looking? So what kind of
projects? Yeah. So I do actually have one on Canva for module 1. I'm just going to drop it in the chat shortly. I'm just seeing how fast I can bring it up. Portfolio. That CareerFoundry folder. Yeah. I've got the intro one too. So actually, I do have 2 there. Can we just share on screen or drop the links in? What would you prefer, or both?
I don't know. Maybe it's interesting for the people in the audience to maybe. Yeah. I don't know if you feel comfortable. I don't want to put you under the spotlight. But if you want to just talk us through the portfolio, that could be really cool for everybody watching.
Yes, sure. Actually, it might actually help me to share, to be honest. Just as a reminder, because the intro course was so long ago as well. Give me 1 second, just to bring it up, and then I'll share. Do I have share screen access actually?
I think you do in the top left. It should say presenter. You maybe share screen or something?
I can just see presenter view. Otherwise, oh, at the bottom, share content. Yeah, I got it.
Big Mark is usually moving the tabs around, so it always remains
Yeah.
interesting.
So I mentioned earlier that that in the intro course, ordinarily you have to pick a fictional client. I think it's really open. I think it's even you have to actually make up one or pick one. I don't think you even give them one in the intro course. And then with me, I managed to convince my mentor that I was allowed to focus on an event I had coming up. So that event I had coming up was I think it took place on the 19th of December, I believe, and it was my Middle East and North Africa food and beverage pitch lounge series where usually four capital raising founders pitch to investors, and the point of the intro course was to build out an Instagram campaign. So it was to first think very calmly, like what are the well, obviously give some context to the to my tutor who doesn't know anything about my business or this event series, to give context to them about the campaign, but also for yourself really, and to decide on some goals, what type of content you're going to work on, and the focus here was Instagram posts, and then to present the campaign results and any insights and recommendations. So it was really to go through a process of that. So I gave some context behind the company, and then around the goals and the strategy for the campaign. Did some bit more of a deep dive into the customers that I focus on, and like what these founders are usually, characteristics of the founders in terms of their demographics, but also in terms of their like personalities and what they're looking for and what they want and need, and then how that then would then inform the elements of branding, like content, but also fonts and like colors and stuff like that. And then yeah, this was a kind of very basic campaign performances and some educational content we shared also as part of the event week, not just like sharing the event posters and kind of call to actions like this, but also sharing like event content like that. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't a massive campaign, but it was we did it like probably within a few days of the event, and just to explain why that was the case is to be honest, for my business, like Instagram hasn't really been a platform in which I prioritized, but I understand that people expect you to have an Instagram presence, and it is nice, and I think it is part of that kind of impressions ecosystem, particularly the stories and the reels area of Instagram. With a certain age demographic of my founders, it does actually make sense. But generally, I do B2B marketing and sales, and LinkedIn is my platform. But I wanted to still branch out to Instagram, and now I'm taking it a little bit more seriously. Instagram, still not really getting there, but I'm still taking it more seriously. I think the course has helped me kind of maybe do that a bit. This is module one. So module one was actually linked to a fictional client called Green Gatherings, and they produce and they're supposedly based in Berlin, and they produce sustainable picnic wear, and it was to do a product launch and a campaign for them, and it was a few different things. It was to create a landing page, to write a blog, to do obviously to do all the market research first around the customer segment, and so on, and understand who these buyers were, and they kind of come up with a few buyer personas, and then to work on these different elements. So there's about 3 elements. One was a blog, so to write that blog article, and before writing it, you literally planned the entire thing like in a table, all the different elements of it, like what the heading would be, what the title would be, what each of the sections would be, what each of the photos would be in each section. So the whole blog was already planned like in this table. Then when you were actually putting it onto the online system into WordPress, you'd already planned the whole thing. It was all the elements were built out already, and even the elements of the blog were already in some way built out because you'd already planned the elements before in different units. So it's like building a wall. It's like the first parts of the module were like working on doing the research and the buyer persona stuff, and then that fed into the words you used and the images you chose and so on. As well as the blog article, there was also a product landing page that we made on WordPress, and there was also some posts as well. But yeah, and then what was important is every slide and every element of this portfolio, I'm like, writing reflections and learning. And before putting them on the presentation, first they have to go again into a document and they get submitted as an assignment. And then later you then present them and put them into a visual way like this. So each module you have one of these, and then you synthesize it effectively. So it means at the end of the course you have like all of these components of portfolios, and you can decide whether you're going to put more into one, and then you can share that to a prospective client, employer, or use the content as part of a personal branding site or agency site. So it is fantastically useful to be forced to do that. Actually, it's like but actually it's so useful because even me, when I've had like interns in the past, and now even more so, I'm insistent that they do these portfolios, because it's just like if you don't do it along the way, you then just don't do it. At the end, you don't do it. You don't make a portfolio at the end, unless you're actually forced to do it. It's for credits, or you're paid, or you're doing it along the way, and then it doesn't feel like such a massive, arduous undertaking, right? Because you're doing it bit by bit. Yeah. So that was a end of module 1 portfolio. I've already built out half my portfolio for module 2 already.
I think that's also a really interesting thing. Maybe 5 years ago, I think maybe you wouldn't have thought about a portfolio being something that maybe a digital marketer would present to a potential employer, or something that a digital marketer would have. I think what we're seeing, though, is as the market's changed, and to differentiate between candidates, actually when you're applying for a job, and we know this from CareerFoundry's career specialists, when you're applying with your resume and your CV, when you can present a portfolio of the work that you've been working on, projects, whether they've been made up, whether they're for family and friends, or whether they're kind of real world studies, it's super interesting for an employer, because they can really see how you're putting things together, how you're presenting the work that you do. So the portfolio is really, really important. And that's what we're seeing in the market in 2025. And I think maybe 5 years ago or a little bit longer, you probably wouldn't have said, okay, marketing, do we need to really have a portfolio for that, or I'm just going to apply with a cover letter and a resume?
Before I started this program, I actually, the last few weeks and last month or two, I've been kicking myself. I did this big event in Dubai last September before starting this, and I've not actually done the report on the event, so I have no portfolio from that event. I'm thinking that's such a massive. I mean, it was a 3-day expo, and we were in charge of it. It was a crazy massive budget, and we don't have like a report on it, or a portfolio, or a presentation to say this is what we did. This is how this is the end results and the feedback we got, and even actually breaking it down further in like how we actually work with the client, and how we designed the campaign, and how we designed the event with them. But now at least I've seen how we're encouraged to design these portfolios and structure these portfolios doing CareerFoundry, and I think I'd probably approach some of these some of these portfolios some of these like event reports that I'm producing for prospective clients. I might start producing them and approaching the actual exercise of producing them in a slightly different way than I would have done before, which would be much more slapdash, kind of like 3-4 slides of like, this is our like track record, but like really kind of visual, and like really not very like, this is the structure and method we go through, this is how we work with you. And I think that's what this structured approach, I think for not only how you approach doing this stuff, planning this stuff, executing this stuff, but also how you plan, how you structure and approach reflecting on it, and developing a portfolio on it. Now we're going to take a portfolio and a visual summary of what we just did. And I think it's helpful, even if it's an optional thing that a client or prospective employer can choose to click on and open up. Some might never open it, some might not look at it, but actually if they do, it's telling them something about how you work and the methodological way in which you work. And then it's helping your cause rather than just being more noise, more visuals. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just want to speak a bit about digital marketing, maybe in general as well, because there are so many different. I think it's such a broad topic, and it's. I think when we developed this program, we also realized it's such a broad topic, and I think it's also a career that can fit a lot of different personality traits, but also I think a lot of it kind of combines a lot of different experiences. So, for instance, if you're more of, I don't know, maybe more of an extrovert and you want to get involved in adverts and you want to be in front of a camera, or maybe you want to do live events just like this, you can do that. But if you actually want to have a couple of days where you're just focused in on the data, you're focused in on the leads, how leads are coming through onto your website and how they're being channeled, maybe going through to the blog or maybe going through to Instagram, and where they're actually purchasing your product. There's so much data available now, and there's so many great AI tools where you can kind of deduce that data into great reports for the company. I think the great thing about marketing is it is a very, very broad career path with lots and lots of different avenues. So I think when you join the CareerFoundry program, it will start off very, very general, but it can also go down into more specific avenues. And then just one more thing, I think if you go up and you meet people who are at the senior levels in marketing, and maybe even like the CMO levels, you find that some of these people are great generalists too, so they can dip into these topics. And there might be 10 different topics within a marketing team, and these people can usually dip in and give insights. So I think there's lots of different avenues for lots of different people in this career.
Yeah, there are so many marketing strategists I know that can't roll their sleeves up but actually then launch a campaign or even set up an Instagram account or get your Facebook ads campaign manager connecting with your Instagram account. Like it's something that's really quite technical and it just involves actually experiencing it and actually doing it yourself. But instead they've got this broader experience as strategists. So usually they're more around the kind of really strong on market research and understanding customer behavior, and I've read a lot of like reports done by lots of analysts. They've read reports about what works, and then they then advise or then what to plan and execute. But actually, them themselves executing it, sometimes a lot of them are not learning all of the new different things fast enough to be able to do that. And so that was the advice I got given as well by an old friend from uni back in 2017 when I said I was getting really interested in marketing, and he's like, well, what part of it? It's in a massive field, and he's an SEO specialist back then, and that's the roles in companies, but it's just that you're focused on, SEO, and you won't then be doing also branding or creating the visual elements of that are needed for a marketing campaign. That would usually sit in the branding department. But what's nice about the CareerFoundry course here is that you're doing a bit of all of it, which is nice because then you realize if you are a career changer, you realize which bit you really like lean towards that makes sense for you to then specialize and go into a specialized path around that. But I think as an entrepreneur, like for me, I need to have a bit of awareness of every single bit of it, which is the same in terms of I need to know about recruitment, I need to know about legal, I need to know about accounting. I can't get away from it. So yeah, for me, there were parts of marketing which I was just neglecting, like understanding SEO, and now I'm in that, on module 2, yeah, it's relevant for the website content, but it's relevant for particularly if you're writing blogs, and obviously relevant. And so I'm learning that now from a very data-driven perspective. And in the past, I've not been as hot on that. I have another franchise business where it's all automated, the SEO optimization. So I don't have to think about it. Basically, it's outsourced, and I pay for that as part of the hosting package. Now, in a sense, that's kind of like great. Don't think about it. But it means I was never learning about it from my other franchise business that I've had for a bit of a longer time around. It's focused on Berlin, actually, that business. But the Pitch Lounge, I've had to really, I'm layering it up over time, having to learn about different areas in order to make those small gains, in order to improve what we do, professionalize, and to have better results. I can't neglect any of those areas. And sometimes you can outsource it to an AI tool or an agency, but each of these things costs, and also sometimes there's like overlapping things as well, where you realize you're paying for more tools than you even need, and actually
those tools add up.
yeah, they really do add up. Like, yeah, no, 100%. Sometimes you do get some really nice like included features, but then I've heard some, some horror stories about some platforms that are doing email marketing, CRM, and then they've got, are you focused on sales or marketing? Well, sometimes you're kind of doing both. Like, how can you completely separate the two? And then it forces you to buy the two packages or something like this. So you can really fall foul there. But I think to know that you can do some things yourself manually, and you also can then weigh up that when someone's offering you to do that for you, you can really weigh up, actually, is the value that they're bringing me worth what I'm paying them? I think that's what's helpful. I think when you've got a bit of basic knowledge in an area, someone can't pull the wool over your eyes and take you for a fool, right? It's a lot harder for them to do that if you've got some basic awareness of all of these different areas. And I think that's one of the strengths of the program, that I think it's giving me. And I think one area I have dabbled, but I've not in a very not in a very structured way, or like really checking on. I usually do it far too last minute, performance marketing, and I've never done a Google Ads ever. So that's a really, I'm not quite there yet on the program, but I'm really excited about the fourth module. I think it's performance marketing. I'm really excited about that. And I've done a bit of Facebook ad, a little bit of LinkedIn ad, but again, a little bit late, very much like, oh, we should do this. And without the kind of prior planning and calm and like, we're going to have this as part of our campaign in 2-3 months time. No, it's like, oh yeah, the event's in like 5 days. Let's do an advert to boost this, because we need to boost it. And then it's kind of, you're kind of rushing the ad. It doesn't get approved, and you're waiting 24 hours. So it's like, I think I want to learn about performance marketing from a more like really structured, methodological, data-driven approach as well. And about to weigh up like which platform is good value for money based on which target market you're focusing on. Those decisions are so important. Otherwise, you're just throwing money down a drain. Exactly. If you're putting money into performance marketing, you're really just throwing money into the air and just praying. Yeah.
If we've got anyone watching this evening who is considering jumping into digital marketing, thinking about the CareerFoundry program, I would recommend booking a call with one of our program advisors. If you want to speak about your previous career, whether it aligns with marketing, maybe it aligns with another career like data analytics, or maybe it aligns more with, say, UX design or UI design. But maybe also if you want to talk about jobs in your locality, whether you're based in North America, whether you're based in Europe, whether you're based in Asia, but also if you want to talk about the different plans that we have at CareerFoundry, or potentially more about the portfolios, I would recommend booking a call. We do currently offer a scholarship worth up to 20% off our digital marketing program. For those of you who are based in Germany, there is also funding available from the Agentur für Arbeit, and you can also get a Bildungsgutschein in Germany, which allows you to do the CareerFoundry programs for free. But firstly, that you have to apply through the job center in Germany if you're interested in that option. I don't know if Jamal, you wanted to talk about. Did you chat to a program advisor before you jumped on the program?
Did I? I went to an info session and I met two. One of whom was the one I knew, and one of whom was one I didn't know, who was incredibly engaging American. And yes, they were helping me to weigh up which program made more sense, right? Because remember that story about me having mixed up project management and product management? So that was quite crucial, because CareerFoundry do not offer project management right now. They're just offering product management. So I then had to very quickly understand what product management was, and then weigh it up against the other options. And yes, definitely that info session and the follow-up calls and chats I had with email correspondence I had with the advisors from that info session was definitely critical in me choosing digital marketing as the one for me. I think it's possibly one of the shorter ones as well. That was also something that I was bearing in mind. And I knew that I also nearly guaranteed wanted to try and get some government funding that you just mentioned. So I went for this one because one aspect is, I think with the government funding, yes, they're happy to fund career changes, but you need to demonstrate that you've got some ongoing interest in this area. It's like a really like it's a bit of a peculiar tension, right? Because it's like you can't have a degree in the area because then you're like, well, where were you? You don't need this program now. But if you've got some work experience in the area and you can show that you've got an ongoing experience, it's not like some impulse. You woke up on a Monday morning and went, digital marketing. I want digital marketing. Let's use the government's money for this for 3 months. It's not quite like that. So I felt like this one made sense, whereas the other ones, it would have been a harder case to put when I was applying for the funding, right? Because it's someone else's money, basically. It's taxpayers' money, or I've also paid a lot of insurance for this and taxes. So I felt like it was due back to me in some way, but I still need to make a clear case, and I need to make sure it was also a safe and safe use of my time as well. And then it did have a nice symbiotic relationship with what I was also doing on the side, right? Which you've already heard about. So, no, yeah, the golden goose time was crucial. It made me it made the decision to do this very simple as a financial one. Still not a clear cut one, to be honest, because you're still basically committing to doing a program of study, which you need to maintain a certain level of progress. And if you're on any kind of program of study, it means there's an opportunity cost, and then you're not earning while you're doing that. So or you're missing out on maybe a higher level of earning or project work or client work that you can be doing or a full-time job. And I'm quite determined to finish this program before getting a full-time job. So you have to kind of like know that it is for you, and you want to commit to the period. And what William said earlier about the intro course, that's a good proxy for knowing that this is what is the right thing for you for the next few months. So do the intro course. It takes you can do it as fast as you want, or you can do it over a few weeks. And I think there's no pressure to do it any faster than a few weeks, I think. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I am mindful of the time. We are coming to a close. Jamal, maybe just one last quick fire question for those watching. As a current CareerFoundry student, what would you say to inspire people to study digital marketing in 2025? What's your take?
My take is I think in this last year and a half with the AI tools and the speed in which AI is making things easier, I think it hasn't been a better time to learn digital marketing because a lot of the elements of the course really you can do with utilizing AI. I mean, my mentor telling me, Jamal, it's not a writing course. You can completely use AI to do any research you want, right? It's about learning the process. And clients and employers care about the results. They don't care about how you got those results. But as long as you have clear sources and you can be honest and transparent about those methods and the tools you're using, it's absolutely fine to use them. And I think if you stay outside of a course like digital marketing with CareerFoundry, I think you can just get a little bit overwhelmed and lost amongst all the options and things to learn and also ways in which you can apply that learning. And I think on this program, you are guided through a nice, good structure, a good amount of breadth, but also a depth in certain areas and optional extras where you can show prospective employers that you are up to date with the hot topics and tools within digital marketing. But also, secondly, I think you have an ability to also set yourself up. And I think digital marketing is a really exciting skill to have, to be able to set yourself up as a freelancer with your own business, with your own digital business, to be remote, to be free. I think it's one of the best things you could do for individual freedom, is to become fantastic digital marketing. And that's my belief. And I think I'm even more of that belief now, having done this program and feel in a stronger position on this program, as well as coming out of this program, that the financial and kind of career independence with this skill set will be much more possible. Yeah.
Well, Jamal, thank you so much. And I think we should probably, once you've graduated or once you've landed a new job in tech, or once you've graduated and got your full portfolio and you're applying that all to your current job at Pitch Lounge. I think we should probably do another event and just talk through maybe look back at what you've done. But I would just say thank you so much for joining us tonight. So Jamal, currently in just about to catch a plane to another part of the world, so beaming in from an airport nearby. But yeah, thank you so much for everybody who attended in the audience, and thank you so much for your questions too. As I said, and I think as Jamal said, if you're interested in digital marketing, I think the first step would be the free short course to just get a flavor of what it entails. And I would say that if anyone's considering doing a career change, do book a call with a program advisor. I posted a sticky note on the